And welcome back to the next episode of our $1 Million Coach podcast. And I love, right, Sam. I was just about to say, I love being joined by Sam and Ash because no one's waiting for me to trip up and fail like Tony does on the Affiliate podcast. But you were waiting for it there, Sam. You were like, is she going to get it right today?
I heard that pause. It was like, wait.
Well,
okay.
The pause was like, do I normally say MDCP or do I say the $1 Million Coach? So I couldn't remember from last week what I actually say. So, to be fair for me, it's like 4 a.m. here in Australia. So
that's true.
You got to give me a little bit of latitude.
And it's summer. It's 4 a.m. and it's summer. Everything's backwards.
Yeah, it's summer and it's humid and it's gross and it's living the dream. And my fan was too noisy for the podcast. So I've had to turn that off. So if I melt away, I don't know why. But Ash's fan is quiet. But anywho, we digress. We always manage to go down a weird little rabbit hole to start the podcast. But today I thought it was, we talk a lot in this program about, coaches being able to tap into their earning potential. And we've talked about how the fact that the coaches are so valuable because you're changing lives and all that sort of stuff. But one of the things I was thinking about this week in reflection was quite often clients or prospects, well, not clients because they're usually with us, but prospects and leads and people that we want to work with have a different perception of the value we provide versus what we're asking.
Yeah.
So, we all know the metric for value is like, here's the cost, here's what they're getting. It's that magical little bit of perception in the middle. And we can see that it's high value, whereas they might not have that perception. But also then setting the expectations as well, like following through from that with a client so that you don't get to the end of a program and they go, but I didn't get what you said I was going to get or what I thought I was going to get. So a little bit to unpack in this one. Sam, I'm going to throw the talking stick over to you first to lead off.
The talking totem.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's talking totem.
So a game changer between my quick sidebar. Game changer between my wife and I has been a totem, right? So I am the kind of person who she will be trying to explain something and I will just talk over her because I think I understand what she's trying to explain or I have a solution. And now it's like the conch, the shell, like I have it. I'm the one who speaks. And when she's done, she hands it back to me.
Are you mansplaining to your wife, Sam? That could be a critical error in life.
Maybe man-solving is a better way to go about it. Because
that's fraught with peril.
Yeah, oh God, yes. All right. So anyway, I love that you talked about. You said, as we know, value is X, and that's the thing is, I don't think people know that. I mean, until I started working with Fitfiliate, the cost of something was exactly what I thought value was, right? And so it was a real paradigm shift for me when I shifted from, it's, priced at X, it must be worth X, to a deeper understanding. And then not only understanding that value could be different from price, the next level is understanding how to communicate value and then pricing accordingly, which, whether you like it or not, is sales. And so if you're in the space where you're a coach or you're an owner and you're trying to, grow your business without getting comfortable with sales, I got bad news for you, homie. It's so that first bit where this perception of value like exists, and I love the way you describe it, where there's the price and then there's how we communicate that, and the gap in between is the value. That is so important. It might be the most important thing that via the MDCP we can try to communicate to coaches and affiliate owners is there's what you offer and there's the price that you offer it at. And then there is what you are actually transacting with. And here's here's an anecdote. Most coaches or affiliate owners think that they sell CrossFit. That is not the case, right?
Mm.
That's, as I've famously heard it said, that's like going into a shoe store that sells running shoes and the person behind the counter being like, would you like to buy some running? You know, and it's not what you're buying, right? You're buying something entirely different. And in this particular case, coaches, affiliate owners, you sell freedom. You sell freedom from pain. You sell freedom of movement, freedom to say yes to anything. You sell an idealized or aspirational version of that person's life. You don't sell CrossFit.
Yeah. And the problem that we can have when we don't understand our own value proposition is, and we get into, we get a lead or a prospect come talk to us, sometimes we can then drop our value, aka drop our price to meet what the client says is value. And so that would be like, again, you go into a bakery and you say, I want to buy, a loaf of bread. They're like, oh yeah, it's $5. Well, bread's really worth $2, so that's what I'm going to give you. And you go, okay, thank you, because I made a sale. And okay, I sold something. That's great. Yeah. And then you are forever battling uphill then, to try and communicate. If we're meeting the market, for example, where it's at, and that's a common thing we'll hear from coaches and affiliate owners is that, oh, people won't pay that, or people can only afford X, or people don't value this. Well, they don't value it because they don't understand it or understand the value of it or anything. And that's our job, is to communicate that. Ash?
And I think just as important as it is for us to communicate the value, it's also to ask the question to our clients, athletes, whomever, what do they expect from this? Because if what we're trying to provide and what they're expecting are not aligned, then you may not make the sale, and that's okay, because we want to stay aligned with our core values and our mission of, I feel like value, I'm saying value way too much, but the value that we're giving is what we believe in, right? So if I'm trying to sell that and somebody is coming to me saying, well, that's not what I want this. Well, maybe I'm not the person to give you that then.
Oh.
But or maybe, yes, I want this. Well, then this is going to cost you, this is a whole different conversation. This is the price then for that additional things that you want. Like,
and then there's the conversation of, well, I want this, not what you're saying. And then I say to my client, well, if you want this, you need XYZ to get there. So you may not think that's part of what you want or what's valued, but we need to really clear those things up or work on those things and really improve them to get there.
Yeah.
And it's our job to know what that includes.
Yeah. Or, you run the risk of like, yeah, cool, we can do this one now. And because they haven't, completed all those prerequisites, if you want, for a better word, when they come out the end of that, the higher end, then they're likely to go, well, it didn't work. Your program doesn't work.
Right.
Well, no, because we took you from 0 to 100 where you needed to learn how to walk first before we put you in the Ferrari.
Yeah. I think that, as I'm listening to, communicating value and, perception of value and stuff like that, the first like big question that I would want to, like, if you're a coach or an affiliate owner and you've run into this problem where like you tried to communicate value, you had a client who purchased that program, and on the back end, they're like, well, I didn't get what I paid for. Did you ask them what they were looking for? And as a part of that asking, did you let them talk? Or did you just say, hey, we got CrossFit, we got 5 days a week and 6 classes a day and brand new bunch of rowers and all that stuff, where it's like, they don't know that they should care about that,
And
go ahead.
We get a little bit stuck selling the widgets.
Yeah.
Selling the what's, not the experience, or, selling the, there's a theory in talking about sales or persuasion about selling the destination. So, oh, you want a holiday? Cool. You want to go to Hawaii? Okay. Well, if you travel this way, it's going to take you, 6 hours. You're going to stay in the best hotels. We're going to, you get a foot rub on the plane, whatever it is. If you do it this way, well, it's going to take you 2 weeks, and we're going to go via Greenland or whatever, and you're going to be in the back of a plane somewhere that's a slow moving beast. Like, if you sell both of those things that way, then it's like, well, hey, you get to the sand sooner, and you feel that warmth of the sand beneath your toes, and the story of how would your life be like? Well, we can get you pain free and da da da, rather than going, yeah, you're going to be hot and sweaty, and that rower is going to be your best friend.
Let me tell you,
value's not the thing.
Yeah, you're going to learn to love endurance intervals, like that little pukey feeling in the back of your throat. So much fun. It said nobody ever. Like, and so again, back to the original point, like, we're selling we're selling the thing that you get after all of that stuff, and I think it would be an interesting, like, experiment. Anyone who's listening here, if you got prospects or leads who are going to come in, and you're going to basically do a sit down and an introduction and be like, try to pitch them on your service. Don't. Just be like, what seems to be the issue? How can I help you? And then shut up and let them talk.
Give them the totem stick.
Give them the totem. And like maybe you don't actually have to hand them something, but like, have something in your hands. And then when you want them to talk, put it down and don't pick it back up unless you're absolutely certain that they're done talking, even to the point where it's a little awkward. And I think people would surprise themselves with what those people sitting across the desk come back with. And in my experience, there's any number of things that can be said. There's the, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, or, oh, I want to fit into these pants, or, oh, I just want to, feel like I should get back in shape. I feel like my diet needs a little tune up or something like that. All of that is crap, right? Under all of that is some kind of discomfort or pain that drove that person to come to you. We have a saying in AA, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, you won't change, right? So that person is uncomfortable enough or in enough pain that they actually want to do something. And we talked about this previously. Like, you get a nagging thing in your knee or in your shoulder, the human body is resilient and you will just put up with it. But if they're coming to you, they're either incredibly emotionally and physically aware, and they're like, "Ooh, I got to head this off at the pass," or they're just plain in pain and they're looking for help. And so you say, what's the matter? They tell you, and it almost doesn't matter what they say, because your answer is going to be, "Cool, I can help you. Here's what it looks like."
I think we get bogged down, and correct me if I'm wrong, but okay, well, this is a program that I'm going to put them through, so this is what I'm selling them. Whereas, you have your program and you know that it's going to work. But when someone comes to you and they start talking about your thing as what they need, their pain, it's not about saying, okay, here's a template that fixes you. It's, you've got that. That's going to be the structure. It's like, I have a plan for you.
Yeah.
And instantly, the value proposition increases in the client's mind, because this is a program for me. And even though this is a framework of a program I can implement, I can plug and play and adjust for you.
Yeah.
And but the client, it's a bit like, again, like we've talked several times about a mechanic analogy. You don't need to know how the mechanic is recoding your engine to get the best performance out of your exhaust. You just need to know that they are a mechanic. They can recode. Your exhaust is going to sound amazing.
You looking at some engine tune-ups for the truck, Lisa?
maybe a little bit, but just something that's been in the top of mind. But I don't need to know how they do it. It's just
Right.
I'm going to you as the expert. I'm quite sure that anyone that takes the same vehicle there that I have, they're going to do exactly the same thing. But he's like, oh, well, we can do this for your specifications and this. So I'm like, I'm getting a solution just for me, even though knowing what I know it's not. But I walk out of there going, yeah, that's I've got a unique truck now. It's like, no, you don't. But it's having that belief and understanding the value of that. What will this bring to my life? How will this make me feel? He didn't get into the tinned hacks of, well, I've just got to hit 3 buttons and it's done. It's like, yeah, it'll be super cool when going through a tunnel or you're at the lights. Da, 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 da. It's like sold me on the things that I was looking for. That I wanted it to be cool, to sound cool, and to whatever. Anyway.
Well, and
delete
at
that
the same
before
time,
anyone sees that I might spend money out of my account. Awkward.
at the same time, with that whole tune-up, you can go to probably any garage that has done muffler tune-ups before, engine tune-ups, whatever. I don't remember what we were talking about, and I know nothing about cars, so forgive me if I went off track. But
The contrast right now is marked.
I do have a point here. So you go to that and you get your engine tune-up and you're like, okay, this is great. It's exactly what I expected. I knew what I was getting. Money was worth it, whatever. Or you could go to XYZ, who specializes in your specific make and model, and that is the only kind of car or engine or muffler that they ever touch, and they literally have known that inside and out. Are you going to pay more for that? Hell yes, you are. But are you going to, if you're looking for that specific purr or whatever you look for in a muffler, like, you're going to get it. You're going to know exactly, you're paying for what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And can, it changes based on the value that you're looking for, how specific, how deep, how, far you want to go with it.
And just in case anyone's jumping into the episode late, like mid-episode, this is not, Cars Are Us. We haven't turned now not helping you with your auto shop business or your car, but it's a good way to communicate the value, because if you're going into something where you don't understand the inner workings, like if you go to that mechanic and they start explaining things, Ash, your eyes are going to glaze over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure, even like when we spoke to you about buying a Mac, like Sam and I were both listing off 1,000 things to you, and you're like, I just need the camera to work for Zoom, man. Like, we like, you don't need to know the inner workings and you don't understand that, but it gets lost in that. And you're like, well, don't all computers do the same thing? Like, well, and as coaches and affiliate owners, when we start talking, we get stuck in that. What? Because it's comfortable to us. We like it. We get it. It's fun to be, do the endurance intervals or whatever. We get that it works. We know that it works, but the person sitting in front of us, they just want to stop hurting.
Yeah. And that's, I used to, when I do coaching development, I tell the coaches, I don't ever want to hear you say the word modality, right? Because they don't care. Like and it's the same thing with the snatch. Like, every once in a while, you'll get an athlete who wants to go Gesundheit. You'll get an athlete who wants to go super deep, and you get to talk about, snatch balances and the high hang position and its virtues and the difference between a heaving snatch balance and a snatch drop. And one of the most powerful things I ever experienced was I came back from my Bergner weightlifting cert, and my head coach at the time, Spencer Hendel, he first guy to snatch 300 pounds in CrossFit history, competition at least. He was like, "How was your thing?" And I'm like, "My mind is blown," and I'm psyched, like, so I'm gonna, this is gonna be the best thing ever. And he's like, wait, they don't care. Keep it simple. Jump, punch. And knowing what I know now, it's like I was so sad at the beginning, but now it was the best piece of advice I could have gotten.
Here you were ready to vomit your information over everybody.
Oh, it would have been the worst class ever. And so knowing that I can take what is the most complicated Olympic weightlifting movement that we do, maybe that there is, aside from, I don't know, split snatch, and to boil it down to jump and punch. And I'm going to get 90% of people 70 or 80% of the way there with those two cues. And of course, it's more complicated than that. But if they're pulling too early, jump harder. It'll solve that pull. And maybe you got to use different words, but it's all the same thing. Like, they don't need to know all of the bits and pieces along the way. They do need to know that you're going to solve their problem. And you can outline that path. It's going to look like, we start here. I'm going to check in with you regularly. You're going to get assistance in this way and assistance in this way. And at the end, we're going to make sure that, like, I'm committed to this process with you. I'm going to be here with you. To the person sitting on the other side of that desk who is probably terrified and in enough pain that they actually got up and did something about it, to know that this other person is going to A, solve their problem, and B, not abandon them. Like, that's everything. You want to talk about communicating value? That speaks more than how big your square footage is, how many ergs you have, how many hanging sets of ropes and ring muscle or rings you have, and all that crap. And
people aren't necessarily going to volunteer. Like, oh, I want personal attention. I want one-on-one. I want, they just like until you actually ask them what like Ash said, what are their expectations of the process? I know that I have recently just reached out to a trainer for me to work with, and I put a very open message at, all the stuff I was struggling with, where I was at, what I was looking for. And I knew that message had been preempted with a conversation with somebody else, a mutual friend. And, the response I got back is, well, no, I'm too busy, but you could just jump in and join us in training, when I know it was clearly communicated I was looking for a coach.
Yeah.
And so I knew enough to be able to communicate what I needed. And, it was kind of, it didn't go quite to plan, but your general person who comes to you, and that was still difficult and awkward for me to write some of that stuff down. But I know, I know enough to know what I'm looking for and the questions to ask. Your average person who's coming in who feels like that they're unattractive to their partner, or they hate themselves, or they, never look in the mirror, they don't know enough to ask you directly. So you've got to dig and connect and talk.
Well, and more likely than not, kind of by virtue of being a coach yourself and then also being coached in Fit Affiliate, you are more comfortable than the average person with being vulnerable. Not to say that was an easy process, but you're probably a couple steps further down the path, right? If you've not been forced by circumstance or by sheer discomfort to get to that point, most likely the first thing that comes out of the client's mouth is not going to be the real driver, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fear around being vulnerable, especially in a new setting, right? I've called this random business because I think I want their service, but I don't really know about it. So let me check it out first. Like, whoa, why are you asking me all these questions? Like, I'm going to have a little bit of a guard up, because it took vulnerability for me to take the first step. And now you are broaching me and wanting me to take a second step already. So it's like, yes, try to dig, but do it with kid gloves, and, make sure you're being empathetic, that you are showing that you're listening without taking over the conversation. And know that you're not going to get all the answers probably in that first meeting. you're going to have to continue to ask questions when you see this individual. And that shows them then that you care, that you remembered something they talked about last time, and you are following up. It may not be every day, but you need to make a point to care. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
Because when they come in, you're right, Ash, that vulnerability that led them to make that call, that's a big enough scary step. So then they just start talking about the things they feel like they should ask us, like what happens in a class? What if I can't do that? Or how many people are in the room? Or will you teach me? Or what if I don't know? Or what if I'm not fit enough? That's the things that they can default to because it feels comfortable. It's like, well, I feel like these are the questions I need to ask because I don't have the tools. And, by coming at it from a perspective of like, hey, Ash, thanks for coming in to see me today. How can I help? It's, how can I help you today? And, oh, well, I just want to lose, a few kilos. Okay, cool. So why is that important to you? Like, why does that matter to you right now at this point in your life? Bless you again. One more time, Ash, and it's attention seeking. We will not be blessing you. I'm just saying, you get two.
I think I'm getting cold.
Attention seeking.
Attention seeking, yeah.
So it's, finding out, just having those conversations. And like you said, Ash, empathy is a big thing. Is like, I get that this can be a confronting experience. It's going to feel like I'm asking you a lot of questions, but, I want to help you and I want to get to know you a little bit to make sure that what I'm going to offer you is exactly right for you. So you don't have to keep going around in circles.
Or if you should offer at all.
Yeah.
And like, there comes a point where like, and especially as you start, affiliate owners and head coaches, you start honing in on what is your why. Like you have a clear, your 4 horsemen we talk about, your 4 horsemen are clearly outlined and you are living that. There's going to come a point where some of the people who sit across the desk from you are not your people, because they don't want the thing that you have to offer, and to let them into your family and your community might be detrimental.
All around.
I recently had a member who was contemplating freezing or canceling their membership, and had a conversation with her to see what she was going through. And I said, I think you should freeze, at least for now. You need to go do hot yoga. I sent her to my not my hot yoga studio, but where I practice. I don't get any benefit from that, but she does, and she will. That's what she needed. And I knew it from experience. And so I was still able to give her value, and she has thanked me tenfold now.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about building trust in a client? Say, listen, I can't help you, but I know who can. And then you refer them out to someone else. It doesn't matter if they never bought a thing from you. They will tell everybody that you are trustworthy.
Yep. And that's the big step, isn't it? Is like, we've just met. So why do you believe anything I have to say? Or you're just trying to sell me a membership. And unfortunately, because, of the nature of business where, everyone's trying to get clients, we coaches are struggling to, put food on the table, is, okay, I'll just take everybody. And the client that you wind up with that you really shouldn't have taken, it's going to be detrimental to your well-being, detrimental to theirs. They'll be the client that's the biggest pain in your butt you've ever had. You're going to hate it. It's going to be the thing that's going to make you want to not coach. And it's also taking your time and energy away from the right people that you could be serving, because we're just focused on, well, a client's a client's a client. Well, here at Fit Affiliate, we do not take everybody, because if we can't help you the way that we want to help you, then we're not the right people for you.
Yeah.
And we're not just going to take your money for the sake of it and then put you in some long ass drawn out program that's just going to go for years, and you're not going to be able to implement anything, but we took you because we wanted your money. That's not how we work. And do our values align? And, do you have the right intention of action and all the things that we're looking for? And, do I want to sit down and have a beer with you and have dinner with you? Okay, cool. That's a good metric. Whereas if you've got a client, you would know when someone's sitting in front of you, like, oh, this is not going to go well. I just know it. But hey, you've got your credit card out. You're ready to pay. I've got a rent due. Let's just make this thing happen, and away we go.
Right. And, and now we get to something, the scary part about saying no to clients and to leaning into that value is the other side of the equation. If you're not there yet, if you're not solvent enough where it's like, oh, I gotta make rent. Okay. That is absolutely one way to solve that problem, is to get more people in. Right. And we talk about this internally with clients and coaches at Fitfiliate. What's another way around that barn? How can we drive up the value with the existing client set that we have, rather than, rather than going out and roping someone in who might long-term, A, not be a good fit for my community, and then through that, B, I might be doing that person a disservice, And we kind of joked about it last week when I threw a bunch of fireballs into the podcast, but let's say that a tenant of your community is everybody does a class workout, right? And I've seen this expressed in a bunch of different ways. Some gyms do not let you come in, do open gym, and do your own thing. You take the class or you go, right? Same thing with drop-ins. And if you haven't outlined that, or if you have outlined that and you're trying to live that, and then you have someone who wants to come in and do XYZ competitor programming, they're not your people, And if you haven't, going back to the other side of this, which is clearly explaining to the client, here are the expectations. I expect you to XYZ, and in return, you can expect me to ABC, right? And another great little marriage counseling by Sam Burns. Another great little tip that I've received recently was when someone's communicating to you, right? They're communicating how they feel about something, or their opinion about something, or in this case, their expectations about something, right? Before you move on and talk about something different, you need to regurgitate back to them, to their satisfaction, what they just said, which means you have to comprehend it. And because you probably don't want to take as long as they did to explain it, you need to be able to comprehend it to such a level that you can do so with concision, right? And so you clearly understand what their expectations are, and you don't get to gloss over anything. What a powerful tool that is. Because then you say, I hear you say X, Y, Z, and they're like, oh, no, wait, that's not what I wanted. And all of a sudden, what could have been a major issue is averted. Oh, that's saved my butt more times than I can count.
Marriage hacks by Sam. But it is true. It's interesting. I was watching a show, don't judge me. It was a reality show last night that we have in Australia. It's this married at first sight thing. But anywho,
yes,
car crash TV. But anywho, this you can't turn it off. You just can't. But anyway, this bride, she was really pissed at her husband because she's like, you haven't paid me any attention today. And he's like, okay. And you could see this guy had no idea what he'd done wrong. He's like, I thought you wanted to spend more time with the girls today, while we're on this big couples retreat thing. And she went, well, you didn't even check in on me. He goes, well, did you check on me? And she said, I didn't even know where you were. He said, well, I was playing tennis with the boys. She goes, yeah, I saw you. He goes, so you did know where I was? She said, you didn't invite us over. And it's like, did you not want to come over? And she's like, I just wanted some affection. So at the end of the conversation, he's like, can I give you a hug? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, I was on your side, love, until you just did the whole thing. It's like her expectations were not communicated, even though they were in her head.
Yeah.
And, the way she then regurgitated that version of events to the other girls was complete. I'm watching on the couch. That didn't happen. But I've had that with clients though, where it's like, here's what I explained to you, or I thought I explained. Yeah. And then they come back and say, no, this didn't happen. This didn't happen. And I'm like, okay, where did we miss the getting the story straight here?
Yeah.
And
we're understanding
going from the break,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Is it power or squat?
Yeah, that's exactly where my mind went as a coach.
I don't have to do the run at Murph beforehand, do I? That
Oh
doesn't
my
have
God.
that. I can do it all at the end. But it's setting it up from the outset as like, hey, you know, to use a relationship example, we're going away this weekend. What do you want to get out of the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
We're going on this journey. So the client, you're going on a journey with them. You are forming a relationship. And it's, what do you want from this relationship? Like, what do you need? And then you can decide, can I provide that? Is that in my wheelhouse?
Yeah.
Little roundabout
Also-
way to get there.
Also-
Communication is so clutch. Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No. Well, another quick story from Sam's personal experience. If someone asks you, so my wife and I, our favorite phrase is like, we'll go
Can
into
we
the weekend.
get your wife in here?
Yeah, I was just thinking that we need to get Patty on for an episode.
My reputation won't survive that. Whatever reputation I have. Actually, we should, if only because she's the smartest woman I know. She's the smartest person I know. We'll go into the weekend and she'll say, what are your gatas and wanas, you know, for the weekend, right? And we'll try to figure out the things that are really high priority and the things that are lower priority, but if we can fit them in, right? I had 2 learning experiences out of that one question. The first is, if she asks me what my gatas and wanas were, then that doesn't automatically mean she is gonna follow up with her own gatas and wanas. She would like me to ask her, right? Like there's, you know, it would be a nice thing to do, right? And also, if you don't clearly outline the definition of gata and wana and what that means not only for yourself, but also for the other person, it can cause a problem. And so, for example, it's like, you know, I'm trying to be as consistent as possible with my workouts. And so it's like, all right, well, I got to do a workout. And my definition of gata is it's very high or at the top of my priority list. As my partner, her definition of a gata for me is she needs to rearrange her day so it can happen. And like, it wasn't until we had that discussion where it's like, okay, I need to be more selective about how I apply these terms, because it can mean one thing for me and it can mean something totally different for her. But I have to own the kind of outcome that comes out of that in terms of putting my partner in a position. And so going into a relationship with a client, right? I talk about it with coaches. Don't take anything for granted. If you're going to teach the snatch and you're like, cool, grab the barbell, and they pick it up with one hand and you're like, oh shit. Like, you can't take anything for granted. And especially not if this is someone, they're sitting across the desk from you. They don't know what AMRAP or EMOM or any of that crap means. And again, they don't want to. Exactly. They don't care, right? It's your job to listen to their pains and to tell them how you can help, or if you can help, you know? And in doing that, you don't talk about the 5x500 meter intervals or the shuttle runs or the open is this cool thing. No, no one wants to hear about that. You talk about the freedom, you know?
Yeah. It's that, hey, you know, I know right now that you're struggling with your knees and your stuff. But you've said that you want to be able to walk your daughters down the aisle when they get married in 10, 15 years. Like, how's that going to feel to you to be able to do that? Oh, it'll be the greatest day of my life. And that's your value right there. Not, you know, giving somebody hours of squat therapy or, you know, mobility programming. Like, that's the value. Like, wow, shut up and take my money. Like, you know, I would pay anything for that. Okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to ask for, you know, your firstborn child, but, you know, let's make this happen and let's work on the plan. And people have then become fixated on that's what they're working towards. If I'm just doing fitnessing for doing fitnessing's sake, it makes it very hard for it to be sticky and for me to stay with it, because it's like, well, what are you working towards? Oh, I just want to get bigger curls, man. I just want to grow the biceps, or, you know, like, I just want to, you know, bro out.
That's the problem you have, Ash. Yeah, that's where you're at.
Ash feels attacked right now. But how long are you going to stick with it when it gets hard or you see very minimal progress? Because you're like, it's not a gotta. And you're like, it's not important. It's like, no, but I have to walk my kids down the aisle, or I have to be there. You know, I want to live a long time. You know, my partner and I want to do a lot. I want to live a long time. That's the gotta. And, you know, that's what we want to speak to. And because it makes it easy when you're lying on the floor in a puddle of your own filth after doing 7 minutes of burpees, you know why you did that. And that it's for the bigger picture, not just, I'm not coming back tomorrow to do this shit. Why am I going to do this again? Like I feel like dirt right now. And that 2-second, you know, dopamine hit that you get, you know, after it, you're like, yeah, I feel amazing. That wears off pretty quickly when you know, can't, you know, reach your back in the shower because your arms are tired and sore and whatever. Like, it's got to be about more. We're on fire today.
I had a visceral memory from last week with that exact same feeling.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's got to be about something more because, like, Sam, you turn up and you train. Now, you do it by yourself, which is, you know, one of the possibly the hardest things to do. And, you know, you do it for, you know, your family, your recovery, for all the things that you do it for, more so than just, I want to go and hang out in my basement for an hour and you know, clang and bang. That's what drives you to make it a gotta for you, doesn't it?
Yeah. And more importantly, I'm in a weird season of my life. Like, I spent years and years in the affiliate coaching every single day. And now, because of where my life is personally and professionally, I've made the choice to be more remote, which means I have my time is very carefully scheduled so that I can make my family a priority. And I get 60, 75 minutes in the gym. And I'm very, very conscious about bringing myself to a level of output in that 60 to 75 minutes that enables me to get the maximum possible return on investment while also allowing me to come back to tomorrow. Right. And all of that is because I've made my family a priority, and also because I cannot in good conscience advocate for the things that we are talking about without walking that path.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, coming back to the value things, I love, Lisa, how you're describing, like, oh, you want to, you know, 10 years from now, you want to walk your daughters down the aisle. Like, one of the coolest things I ever heard was we're talking about communicating value, and we have an entire ecosystem where the clients themselves have a preconceived notion about the value financially of what they are receiving. Like, we give them fitness, they give us dollars. There's a value judgment made there. If you asked a bunch of people who go to CrossFit regularly, hey, what is your CrossFit worth? Right? They're going to come back to you with a dollar figure. If you take a bunch of those people and then you say, how much am I going to have to pay you per month to never do CrossFit again? Now, all of a sudden, that dollar figure is going to be different. And that is the value.
Or to go back to where you were before you started CrossFit.
Yeah,
like,
or even further.
There's no number that, you know, it could do that. Like, it's just,
So if, you know, to try to, like, put a tip to the spear here, clients, coaches, affiliate owners, if you're not thinking about value globally at that scale, you're missing an opportunity. And that's not to say that you should, you know, drive your prices up crazy amounts, but almost certainly you are undercharging in some way or shape or form. And that's not to say that you should drive people out by raising your prices, but I had a discussion with a client at one point. It's like, wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if everybody could operate like David Osario, who has enough members and enough revenue that he has scholarship programs, and nobody knows who's on those programs except for him and the person who manages them. But there's enough cash flow in the business to cover full-time memberships for a slew of people. That's amazing. Like, we talk about, you know, one of the phrases they used at the Phoenix was the CrossFit Community Center. Like, I think of the CrossFit Community Center model. I think of that. I think of making it available at scale to the people who need it the most and who can't otherwise get it.
Yeah. And it's only by, providing value and services to get the clients in that we then have the freedom to do that. But we need to, that can be our altruistic goal.
Yeah.
But until you can fund it, then you can't do it. Like, I open the gym to help people. Cool. If you're not paying the rent, then you're not going to be able to help anybody.
Right.
So you need to put those nuts and bolts away. And then you go, okay, maybe this year I can help one person. Maybe next year I can help, 2 people. But that's your goal to work towards. But you need to sell and provide valuable service priced appropriately to the people who need it and who can pay for it. You service the many so you can help the few who need it. That's a nice holistic model to have, I think. But we tend to do it in reverse. We want to do everything for nothing because I'm not in this to be rich. No, but you need to pay bills, dude. You need to eat, because if your needs are not being met, you become a shitty human as a coach, because you become resentful and tired because I'm trading all this time for money and yet I can't get any further ahead. I can't pay my bills. Rent's always a struggle. So you're not being able to give 100% of yourself to those clients. You're doing them a disservice and yourself a disservice. I'll get off my soapbox now. Tony vacated it, so I thought I'd use it for a little while. All right, team. This has been a wide-ranging chat, but I think we have we've taken some country roads and some touristy views back on it, but that's okay. I love this chat, and I love the dynamic of just being able to explore some of these points in coaching that nobody's talking about. Everyone's like, "Oh, we'll give you the keys to success," or "Here's your go use ChatGPT, and you can write a program, and you can have all of this, and here's your marketing, and here's this." Let's just talk about the nuts and bolts and the uncomfortable things that coaches are facing that nobody is talking about. And I guess that's, one of our things at Fitfiliate, and even through the Fitfiliate podcast and the way that we treat our clients and talk to our clients is, we see things differently and we think differently, and we want our clients to think differently. So let's talk about the hard things, because, whatever we don't, these problems don't get solved.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, team. Guys, for those of you that are interested in our 6-figure coach seminar, the link to register is in the bio. It's coming up really quickly. As at the time we recorded this, 20 odd days. There'll be less than 20 odd days by the time I release it. Spots are limited. If you want to be part of the first to say, I was there when, Sam and Ash just owned it, then you need to jump in on this. Also, we do have our online program. All the links are in the show notes. Please subscribe. Share this with a coach that doesn't see their own value or know how to communicate their own value, or affiliate owner. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Have the honest conversations. And if you are stuck, reach out. There's a link in the show notes to chat. We would love to hear from you. We do work with coaches, not just affiliate owners. We're here to help at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right. On all that note, I'll see you on the next one, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.